Americans are so broke that we're seeing a new trend pop up. And this trend is, no, it's not clickbait, it is actually financing your groceries. And there's a bunch of grocery stores that now say, hey, you can finance your grocery purchase items with us. Kroger, Whole Foods, Ralph's, and others listed right here are saying, hey, don't worry about your half and half creamer for in the coffee. You can make a few dollars every few weeks and don't worry about it. Just buy now, pay later. And this is true for so many Americans. And you probably thought that this title is clickbait. No, it's not. Check out this article from CNBC that's actually talking about that, hey, Americans are starting to literally finance all of their groceries. And it is just absolutely tragic when you think about it. Hey, here we go. More Americans are financing groceries with buy now, pay later, and more paying those bills late. So it is truly traumatic when you think about, hey, I'm gonna finance $60, $70 worth of groceries, and then they can't even make the payment to keep up with those $70, $80. It's just absolutely detrimental. Here we go. LendingTree Survey found 25% of buy now, pay later users are funding grocery purchases with loans. This is up from 14% from 2024. So as we're seeing, it's a bigger trend now since times are getting tougher, jobs are getting harder to come by. So these companies that offer these services say, why don't we start a new venture where we finance Americans' groceries? And if Dave Ramsey would see this, he'd probably have a meltdown on live air that people are financing their grocery stores, their groceries from the grocery stores. Because I know he's so not into financing cars or anything else like that. And I don't know how he would feel about people financing their groceries, but this is reality. The survey said that 41% of respondents said they made a late payment on buy now, pay later loans. These figures are the latest evidence that consumers are having trouble affording essentials such as groceries under the pressure of high prices and interest rates. And now, when we look at all these buy now, pay laters services, they've been on the rise. 41% of buy now users admitted of missing payments, up from 34%. So as you can see, it's keep rising. And here we go, debt stacking. 60% of buy now, pay later users have multiple loans at once. Nearly 25% hold 3 or more simultaneously, increasing the risk of financial spiraling. So it's not just that they get one-time financing. No, they get a couple of them at the same time. And when I talk to some of my viewers that leave comments, they always say stuff to me like, well, in my area, it is great. And in my area, I see cars stacked at the stores. I see cars stacked at the mall. Or how do you know? Let me phrase it this way. How do you know that these people are actually not buying everything on credit? Because if you buy stuff on credit, your bill's not going to be due for quite some time. And this allows you to just stack credit, stack buy now, pay later services, and you can keep the appearance afloat for a very, very long time. And I usually see these highlight reels, these highlight TikTok videos of these people doing these extravagant trips, doing all these influencer stuff, and going to these really nice resorts. And this is me in the Bahamas, and this is what you get at the Bahamas resort, this 5-star. And I haven't seen those lately as much as I used to. So as we see, it gets harder to get people to come to these resorts. It's harder for people to get jobs. It's harder to spend money on stuff that isn't a true necessity. And so when you're in the shoes of people that are just not having the money, not having a good time, and are working paycheck to paycheck, or not even having a job, buy now, pay later is one of their options that they have to keep up the appeal. Because even if you have friends in your friend circle, they're not going to come out and tell you, I'm struggling so much financially that I'm financing my half and half and my creamer. And I have to finance literally everything because I can't find a job and I can't succeed with my job search. I can't succeed with securing a role and doing all this other stuff. And to top it all off, people are cashing out 401ks, doing all this other stuff. And then you see, hey, at one point, there just isn't any juice left to squeeze. And Americans consumers are tapped out. I say it over and over again. But people don't believe me. People say, oh, we're still rocking, people are still buying, and people are still gonna go into debt to afford different items. And these items have changed though. So it went from financing mortgages, cars, to financing hamburger meat, hamburger buns, and half creamers. And so this is just an indicator of, hey, be appreciative if you got a job in today's world that pays you good. Do the right thing in your work environment to make sure that you can hold this job. Because if you're gonna have a job over the next few years, as it might get tougher, you're gonna be set up so nicely if you play this right. And for people that are in my comment section that are saying, I've been living below my means and I've missed out on all these stock market bull runs, I've missed out on all these other stuff, your time will come. You gotta be patient. Because all these people, like my generation that has never been through a recession, do not know how it feels like to be exposed or to have a market downturn. I know a few of my friends that have properties that were over leveraged, that have done some moves that they would not do now because, hey, now is not the time to go into debt that much with high interest rates, because you can't just hand the property off to somebody else. Because it's really nice when everything goes up, you can say, hey, I'm selling here, somebody's gonna buy here, and then it's keep going up. No, because when you bought up here, now the property's worth down here. And there's multiple instances on Zillow where you can see, hey, people are trying to get rid of it. They lost their 20% down payment. They lost what they have in the property of renovations, and they just can't get rid of it. So now it's turned from everybody screaming online, this is an asset, turned into a liability. So be careful of what you got into. Make sure your documents, your loan documents, make sure your closing documents, everything is filled right. Not that all of a sudden it says, hey, this was actually just assessed as a normal land, not a house. And so now you owe back taxes. You owe an additional 24 grand for actually having a house on there. And then you're like, oh my gosh, my mortgage just went up an insane amount. And I was like, I can't do it, so I got to sell it. And you sell it at a loss. And so get into things that you know and make sure you double check and trust the people you do business with. And just because people say, oh my gosh, the line at Foot Lockers is insane or the line at the mall is crazy, doesn't mean that these people actually have the funds to buy it without actually paying interest on it, without actually saying, hey, we're actually gonna finance this for a year to come, but hey, I've just done it because I have no other joys like Coachella, where these people 60% finance their tickets. So you got to think twice now. Hey, every other person at Coachella actually paid it in installments. They paid it over a certain amount of time. For how many days was it? 1 or 2 days of enjoyment. They said, hey, I'm going to just finance it. And there's so many ways of financing it now with PayPal finance, buy now, pay later, and every credit card or every payment processor is adding these features now. So you just gotta be aware that, hey, just because somebody's buying stuff, your neighbor is, doesn't mean that they actually have the money. And people get so mad, oh, my neighbor just bought this and now I gotta also buy this because I gotta keep up with the Joneses, I gotta do all this. Just live in your own world, live in your own means, in your own lane. And I can't say this enough because Americans are always like, let's kick the can down the curve. And that's what the federal government does. And now they're like, if this works for the government, then why doesn't it work for the consumer? And the consumer is the one that's always gonna be paying, because the government can just print new bills and say, these are worth $100. And you then have to go and actually say, hey, at my $20 an hour job, I'm going to be working for so long for these Coachella tickets. And now, since I've missed one of these two payments, they're going to tack on some interest, and all of a sudden you're paying $400, $500, $600 extra because you missed that payment. And so that means you probably missed some other payments too. And all of a sudden it gets out of control. And then you're like, oh my gosh, the interest is adding more to the balance than I can actually pay down every month. And so then it's like, oh my gosh, let me get another job. And then you're in the rat race of trying to outwork your debt. And this is just a very, very bad spot for anybody to be in. But this is the American consumer 101. And I wish it wasn't like that, but it's just not. And when people tell me, oh, this is all due to the tariffs, no, this has been decades in the coming. This has been 20, 30 years in the coming. Everything's keep getting more expensive. Everything's keep getting more prestigious. Everything is just getting to the point where let's squeeze another few dollars out of a consumer. Let's add on some other fees. Let's add on some other nonsense BS. It starts with Las Vegas, where Las Vegas has parking fees, resort fees, doing all these other fees. And then you go to car stores, they have nitrogen tire, dock fees, title fees, all these other nonsense fees. So instead of having it all in one and say, hey, your trip's gonna be $500, they say your trip's gonna be $190 at the hotel, and then you arrive and it's another few $100s. Same as car dealers. They say, this car is $30,000. You go there, oh, we gotta add another $4,000 in nitrogen, underbody paint protection, doing this, the leather seat interior protection, all these nonsense fees. And it's like, hey, let me clean your shoes fee. Let me air out the car fee. Let me find all these other fees where we can just squeeze the consumer for another $1 or $2, and then we're good. So yeah, it's almost like these car dealers and all these other ones want a fee to look out the window. And if you got to pay extra if you want to look out the window. So even though your car comes from it, yeah, if you want to look out the window, it's going to be another $5, $6 per night. And at the car, yeah, it's on a monthly subscription. We're going to get you another $9.99 a month so you can look out the window. And if not, we're just going to tint the window and you won't see out of it. And this is the world that the American consumers got to deal with. Everything is just nickel and dime till there's no more juice left to squeeze. And people are done. People are fed up. And the only way how you can stop doing it is stop participating and saying, hey, I gotta dial back and start living within my means. But this is, for a lot of Americans, a word that does not exist in their vocabulary. And this is marketing from the United States. The Americans have always been, we're a consumer-driven economy. We need to get people to consume. We need to get stuff stacked to the brim. We need to have garages so we can hoard more stuff in it. And it's not that we need it all. No, it's just that let's just get more stuff. Let's just get more stuff from China, from Mexico, from Canada, and let's just fill our garages with it. So our cars that are actually supposed to go in the garage actually have to sit in the driveway. So stop doing it. Live within your means. And if you have a job, just kind of be stoked about it. And yeah, we're at a time now where if you have a job, you're super blessed. And yeah, 4 years ago, if I would have said that, I would have gotten canceled. 4 years ago, if I would have told you, you need to be blessed to have a job, people would have said, this is the great resignation. You don't know what you're talking about. I can get a job any day. Now I see 6 months, 8 months, people with actual skills can't get jobs. So yeah, it's tough times ahead. And if you wanna get a good job, and you gotta be willing to relocate, move, and do what a lot of other people did when it comes to jobs of, hey, I can do extra work, I can do all these other things, I can do so much more than all these other candidates, and I can stand out. because how are you going to compete with 4,000 or 5,000 other applicants? And yeah, this is the true world of an American. This is the real world experience of how these Americans are living. 101. So this is it for this video. Thanks for spending 15 minutes with me on my Monday morning walk. It's a gorgeous day, a little fresh out today. But yeah, let me show you my city where I live, Las Vegas. Las Vegas, looking gorgeous today. It's a little chilly. It's like in the 60s. It's gonna be in the 70s. On the sun it's nice, but man, in the shade it's kind of chilly. So let me know what you guys think. If you want me to respond to your comments and you watched till now, make sure you put your bell notification on and then post a comment early when I post these videos, so then I can actually get to your comments and we have conversations. And yeah, thanks Tom for sending me this article. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.